Hi, this is Susan Allen from the Quilt Asylum, and I'm here to talk today about my pressing tips when I'm machine piecing. I like to press my seams open when I'm machine piecing these days as my piecing gets a little smaller and more compact. I find that pressing the seams open eliminates a lot of bulk. I know when we take our beginning quilting classes, the instructions are to press to the dark side, and that's great. But sometimes pressing seams open just makes things look a little nicer and a little flatter and a little cleaner. So I'm going to show you my tips for when I am machine piecing and I'm pressing units open as I go. So next to my sewing machine, I have a wooden TV tray. You can pick these up at a discount store for $10 to $12. They're everywhere. They're easy to find. On top of my TV tray, I have my Steady Betty. This one happens to be 12 inches by 16 inches, and it fits just right on the TV tray. I like my Clover wedge iron. This is one of my favorite little irons. Of course, I have my bigger iron on my bigger ironing board for bigger projects, but when I'm piecing units, this works just fine. I love it for a couple of reasons. One, it does not have an auto shutoff, and I know that's a safety feature, and we like to have that on our irons for safety if we're gone for a while. So you do have to remember to turn it off. But when you're in between piecing things, it's nice to have it there, and it's always hot. It also has this tip that kind of leads the way and helps press seams open. I also have my strip stick. What's a strip stick? Well, it is a piece of wood. I think it's about a half round molding with padding on it and a muslin cover, and I'm going to show you why that's handy in a minute. So when you're pressing seams open, a lot of times things get in the way, and I use my finger when it's really flat. I use my finger and I press that seam open, and then I press the next seam open. And if you're not careful, you can end up pressing over a seam that you just pressed open, and then you have to go back and things get all flipped around. And sometimes it's difficult. This happens to be a strip that started with 1.5 inch squares. It'll be 1 inch finished. If I take my strip stick and place it under that seam, as you can see, that seam becomes elevated. So when I grab that open, of course it's being difficult because I'm on video, and press that, I'm not getting anywhere close to the seam that I just pressed open. So I'm not going to end up flipping that over. So you just move down the stick and press and press and press. And then when I finish, I will flip it over and give it a nice little press. So there's the seams pressed open. Now when you get to a piece that I've sewn 2 strips together, press that seam open, and now I have to press this other seam open, this is where you get into the difficulty with a bigger iron and everything being flat, that you end up kind of mushing up the cross seams that have already been pressed open. So if I place this on my strip stick and just work my way down the stick, then move it down, you can see that I have completely pressed open this seam. I'm sorry, that's in the way. Completely pressed open this seam that was made of strips of 1 inch squares. Now I can press it from the front and go add the next strip and press it open. So again, Steady Betty. Details on the Steady Betty is it is a foam type cover. It keeps your blocks from sliding around. It keeps you from distorting blocks as you press and iron because they cling to this fabric, this foam. As you can see, they don't slide. I've had mine about 6 or 7 years. It's a little discolored, but it still works great, and it sits right next to me. I have this set up at my home perpendicular to my sewing machine. So my sewing machine is over here, and so I will sew and swivel in my chair and press, and sew and swivel in my chair and press, and that saves me time from having to get up and going to the sewing machine every time I need to press a seam. Now, like I said, when things do get bigger, I do go to the bigger ironing board with the bigger iron. That's when I'm finishing my blocks and making the final presses. But for quick pressing as you go to save time, this is a great setup. We have the strip stick, we have the Steady Betty, and we have the Clover mini irons in stock in our store. So if you need one of these items, just let us know. We'd be glad to ship it to you. Again, this is Pressing Tips from Susan Allen at the Quilt Asylum. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.